Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. If you've been a viewer of this channel for a while, you know Rezolve AI has obviously done very well recently. There's big catalyst upcoming. October 1st is when we are expecting to get a massive raise in guidance. Well, there's more news today from Rezolve, and that's one of the things I love about this company as of recently. They're making it a point to keep a steady flow of news, okay? And it helps when things are going right in the business, like they are. But today, the stock, after hitting a, recent new all-time high, at $8.45 earlier in the day today, is trading lower, down about 1.5% to $7.61 per share. So I want to share the news, what's going on with the company today, kind of my thoughts going ahead, specifically in regards to tomorrow's rate cut. There's a lot of investors and analysts and Wall Street that think stocks are actually going to fall after the first Fed cut, that it's going to be a sell the news reaction tomorrow. And while I will acknowledge that is certainly a possibility, I would not be shocked at all if that happened. It's one of those scenarios where it's like everyone is expecting the same thing. Everyone's expecting that stocks are going to fall after the first Fed cut. After all, it's the worst 10-day period for markets historically ever. Like September 17th through the end of the year, the last 10 trading days, by far has the worst performance track record of any year ever. Okay? It's a bad seasonal time. But when everyone's expecting one specific outcome, it almost never happens. Now, I have my own opinion on what could happen tomorrow, and I think we could see maybe some selling on the index level. Big tech may fall a little bit, but I think there could be a bit of a rotation into small caps. Banks perhaps, real estate companies, right? There could be a bit of a rotation. We'll discuss that in this video as well. Hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. Keep in mind, I am not a financial advisor. I am not a financial planner. And although we're up a lot in Rezolve, I think the stock is going to be between $20 and $30 per share by the end of this year, like as a base case. So I'm exceptionally bullish on this company, even at current levels, even after the stock has went up a lot recently. But as I've talked about before on this channel, the flow of the company, right, is so held. Insiders own 40% of the company. They're not selling. If anything, they're buying. Okay? That's 40% of the shares that are not trading on the open market. Institutions have recently started to buy the stock as well. They now own 10% of the company. While that number is going to fluctuate on any given day, there's, anywhere between 55 or 45 and 50% of shares that are locked up right there. Private companies own 14% of the stock. So that's, anywhere from 60 to 65% of total shares. And then you have retail investors, a lot of early retail guys that seen the opportunity in Rezolve, like myself and some of you, have no plans on selling anytime soon either. You understand that this is a diamond in the rough in the best possible industry. So from my calculations, there's anywhere between 75 and 85% of shares that are not really trading too much out there on the markets. So as we get an influx of buyers, not like hype, but the recent influx of buyers, 20, 30 million volume on any given day is moving the stock 20-ish%. That's a lot, okay? And the dollar amount on this, if you just take like $6.75 as a ballpark here, times 30 million for volume, it's very minor dollar amounts, $202.5 million compared to any other AI stock out there. This is nothing. Okay, so what do you think happens on October 1st when the company massively raises guidance? Or in my view, when maybe Nvidia purchases the company, what do you think is going to happen at that point? Okay, it's going to be pretty crazy. Now, I want to take a random day here, okay? This is Nebius, another company that I was, making videos on back when it was a $22 stock. Okay, back in like April. Okay, the stock's $90 today. It went up to $100. We were spot on that one. Similar setup as Rezolve, but here on September 11th, the stock had 37.5 million in volume. Okay, I just want to highlight this for you. But the stock was about $90 a share on that day. That is $3.4 billion in volume. That is over 10 times what Rezolve is seeing. Okay, so again, when we start to get some real dollars moving into Rezolve, the way that the float is structured, we could see an exponential move in the stock. And I think it's really just a matter of time, in my opinion. I'm not a financial advisor, I'm not a financial planner, but October 1st is going to be a massive day for the stock. Talked about recently, the RSI on Rezolve got to 91. Inevitably, you're going to see a little bit of consolidation at that point. And I actually think a day like today where the stock's going down 1.5% before, again, everyone believes you're going to get a sell the news event upon the first Fed cut, that's actually pretty good, right? To level out the RSI a little bit, reset momentum a little bit. RSI's still at 88. I expect it's going to remain pretty elevated heading into October as is. But it is a positive today, believe it or not, that the stock is down. You can't just have a stock go straight up. You need to see a stock work up, and then one day we're going to get like 100, 200% move, right? Just like, Nebius had big news, stock went up 50% the other day, and it kind of levels out after that, right? You got to work up to a place like $7, $8, $9, $10 where you can get that huge move and then level out again. Okay, so we're in a leveling out process. Could I be wrong, right? Could we have a disaster ahead? Sure, but at this point, it looks very healthy to me. And for anyone that wanted a position in the company but didn't want to pay $8, well, now you can get in at $7.60 if you so choose to. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not a financial planner. Come to your own conclusions. If you're dealing with a high risk on kind of company like Rezolve, if you follow the story, if you follow these videos for a while, you understand the opportunity. Like, I'm not trying to sell you on it. Do what you want to do. Sell, buy, I don't care. Okay. I know the opportunity. If you know the opportunity, then that's all that matters. But again, I'm not a financial advisor. I am not a financial planner. And this is not advice to buy the stock. Community portfolio is up 196.1% year to date. We're outperforming 99% of hedge funds and institutions. He just woke up from a nap, so he is not the happiest camper this year. If you guys want to come join us, check it out. Again, link down below in the description of this video. But this is not financial advice, and you are not guaranteed to make money. Here in the news today, we did get some very positive economic data from retail sales month over month that came in positive 0.6% versus estimates of positive 0.2%. So that's really good. Last month was revised up from 0.5% to 0.6%. So even with an upward revision, we still came in very strong. So that's good. Export prices month over month, import prices month over month came in a little bit stronger than expected, but it's not something that tends to feed into inflation all too much. Industrial production month over month came in stronger than expected. Capacity utilization came in line with expectations. Manufacturing production month over month also came in stronger than expected. So what did this do today? It raised the GDP estimate from 3.1% to 3.4%. It raised the real personal consumption expenditures growth from 2.3% to 2.7%, and it changed the private domestic investment growth from 6.2% to 6.9%. So, metrics of how this economy are doing internally look pretty good right now, even though we've had some weakening in the labor market as of recently. Tomorrow is obviously the big day of this week. We will get building permits and housing starts and smaller data in the morning. Bank of Canada interest rate decision. They are also expected to cut rates. But at 2 p.m., you will get the summary of economic projections. This is where the Fed goes out with their dot plot and they dot out where they think interest rates will be, where inflation will be, where GDP will be, where unemployment will be, okay, as well as PCE, okay? So they give their estimates. They give their estimate of the neutral rate and the long run rate for all of these metrics as well. I believe the Fed's probably going to come in pretty close to where the markets are at right now. 5-ish rate cuts over the next year, 6 rate cuts, maybe somewhere around there. I don't think the Fed's going to come in at like 3 or even 4 would be on the low side. I think around where the markets are pricing is probably pretty accurate. If that's the case, again, it doesn't matter what happens to stocks, if stocks sell off or even go up after the Fed cut tomorrow. As long as those expectations are pretty well in line with markets, it's kind of a non-event. Okay, now if expectations are low, then that's going to be a really bearish result for the markets. If the Fed is maybe a little bit more aggressive than the markets are pricing in terms of cuts, that's going to be could be a little bit more on the positive side. Now, there's a lot of Wall Street that believes we're going to get a sell the news event when it comes to the first rate cut. Now, S&P briefly hit a new all-time high today, trading lower, 0.1% right now. NASDAQ, same, hit a new all-time high today, trading a little bit lower today. And the IWM, or the Russell, hit a new all-time high a couple days ago and has been slowly trending lower. And just with how strong September has been, again, we're talking about stocks at all-time highs, don't be surprised when we do see a little bit of selling pressure tomorrow. That's kind of my expectation, is we're going to get some selling pressure tomorrow. But I will be pleasantly surprised if stocks do go up tomorrow. Now, I think it could be a little bit of a mixed market. I wouldn't be shocked if big tech sold off and banks did well and small caps did well, right? For an example, okay, you could see quite a rotation in markets tomorrow. Don't be shocked. News today, Trump's TikTok agreement with China is similar to the one worked out earlier this year, according to sources. India's Prime Minister Modi says, like President Trump, I am also fully committed to taking the India-US comprehensive and global partnership to new heights. And the UK and the US are set to announce closer co-cooperation on crypto. And a House GOP draft bill would fund the government through November 21st. So starting on October 1st, if there is not a continuing resolution signed or just an outright increase to the debt limit, the government will shut down on October 1st. That is one certainty that is weighing on markets. Now, I will tell you, historically, government shutdowns are not negative for stocks, okay? But this time around, it could be. Now, Donald Trump's first presidency was actually when we had the longest government shutdown, which lasted about 45 days, if my memory serves me well. Something like that. And again, typically it's not a terrible situation, but when there's already weakness in the labor market, it can be maybe a little bit more problematic, make the markets a little bit more nervous, because essentially government parks shut down, government workers do not get paid, okay, military does not get paid. That could have a trickle-down effect. House Speaker Johnson says that he expects the vote on the stopgap bill by Friday. Donald Trump says today the stock market is hitting all sorts of records. And again, this is something I'm going to tell you right now. Just add it to the bull thesis for next year and really for the last 3 months of this year. I think Donald Trump personally wants the achievement or record of the strongest stock market of any president. Okay. I think that's kind of what Trump is striving for here. So every time, there's a problem with markets don't like something, Trump tacos out of it. I hate that terminology, but that's pretty much what happens. Also in the news today, rents fall for the 25th straight month. In August, rents dropped 2.2% year on year, the 25th consecutive annual decline, and 2.6% from the 2022 peak to a median of $1,713 across major metros, according to Realtor.com. Stephen Moran was sworn in as a member of the Federal Reserve Board of Governors, so he will be a voter in tomorrow's Fed meeting, which is technically going on today. Donald Trump says today Zelensky is going to have to make a deal. Europe must stop buying oil from Russia. Trump says it looks like I'll have to sit in the room with Zelensky and Putin. And the DOJ to challenge the ruling on Fed's cook soon as at the Supreme Court. So basically, the courts ruled that Trump cannot fire Lisa Cook, and Trump and the government is saying, look, we're going to challenge that. Try to get Fed Cook out of there. Donald Trump says today the Fed should listen to people, but they have to make a choice. Barclays today says we don't see any signs of stress in the U.S. consumer. And Trump says we will be announcing the buyer for TikTok soon. So let me know your thoughts on all of this down below in the comment section. Again, I think there could be a bit of a rotation tomorrow after the Fed cut. I don't think it's going to be a universal like sell-off in markets, but I definitely think some areas are going to sell off. Some areas are going to do well. And, for September being a weak seasonal period, specifically the next 10 days ahead being the worst period on any given year, as far as time the markets have been around. If we do get a sell-off that is rotational, that would be very much, I think, confirmation of my broader thesis of a very strong market next year and a very aggressive end of the year rally in October, November, and December. Okay. But again, the reason I think this rotation is coming is because pretty much everyone is bearish on tomorrow's Fed rate cut. Just because markets have done well, and I don't think that's a good reason to be bearish. So let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Ladies and gentlemen, have a great rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one.